I was talking fantasy football with my friends the other day. Alan, Bravo. Echo. November. Tango. On. Football. Hey everybody, we're back here in the dungeon. It's week 10 of the NFL, and we've got a lot of cool stuff going on this week. As always, Josh Worley is here, my co-host.
Hey everyone.
All right, so we want to talk about our beer first because we've got some very interesting names for beer today. And you know what, Josh? I'm actually going to go first.
Okay, all right.
All right, so the name of my beer this week is, this is not beer. It's a foamy drink with alcohol, and it's not immunized.
Oh, that's
sounds like something that Aaron Rodgers would drink, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. That's probably his favorite.
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, here's mine. Mine is 103 to 117, and that is the score that I lost to this week in our ESPN league.
Really?
Because I forgot to start a tight end and a kicker both.
Which is a beautiful segue right into our next segment, which is What's Got Us Bent.
What's got us bent? So,
Josh, since I started this one off, I'll start the What's Got Me Bent off too. Okay.
Okay. Well, this doesn't really relate to football, but it's related to sports. As everyone knows, I'm an Arizona Cardinal fan, so by default, I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. So news came out this week, as we're seeing a lot of owners, news with a lot of different sports franchise owners. Robert Sarver really housed a misogynistic, racist work environment there for years, and it makes me really ashamed to say that I'm a Suns fan at this point. And Robert Sarver and the Suns organization, shame on you.
Yeah.
And that's all I gotta say.
That's it? That's all you gotta say? Are you sure?
That's it. Yeah.
Because we got a little bit more time in this segment. We can do.
Just shut up and see what gets you bent. All right.
Let's see. What's got me bent this week? Let's see. There's a little thing that came up a couple weeks ago that has really, really got me bent. It's had me bent for a while. And that's Mr. Aaron Rodgers again. So Aaron Rodgers says that he didn't lie when he had his interview, and he said during the press conference that he did not lie about being vaccinated. Well, he did. Huh?
We forgot the beers.
Oh, yeah, you know what?
Let's toast them. Let's cheers.
Do that. My bad. Kick back. Enjoy the show. Yeah, you're right. No, we did. All right, so this has got me really bent. There's a lot of things that got me bent this week. That's why I forgot the beer, okay?
Well, I need a beer to get through a show with you, so.
I mean, the non-beer that I have.
Yes, the foamy drink with alcohol.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Aaron Rodgers says that he did not lie. He just misled people. So I did a little research just to find out what the actual definition. You probably closed my window here that I had, didn't you, Josh?
Not
no?
me.
Okay, all right.
You probably did.
It's here. So I'm going to give you the actual definition of vaccination. The act of introducing a vaccine into the body to produce protection from a specific disease. Now, the definition of immunization. A process by which a person becomes protected against a disease through vaccination. Okay, so what's the takeaway from that? Aaron Rodgers, they mean the same thing. Your exact answer when you, and I'll even quote this, your exact answer when you were asked if you had the vaccine, your answer was yeah. First word was yeah, which means yes. I don't know if you understood that. But the second part was, I've been immunized. Now, those two words mean the same thing. Vaccinated and immunized, they mean the same thing, per the CDC, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say, these aren't from any Joe Schmo website. These are actually definitions from the CDC directly.
Right. So, that being said, yes, Aaron Rodgers, you did lie. You outright lied, okay? Now, maybe you didn't know the difference. Maybe you didn't know the difference between vaccine and immunization. Maybe maybe you thought they were talking about chickenpox, the mumps, the measles, or something like that. Because they didn't specifically say COVID-19 or
colic. Colic.
Yeah, it could be. Could be, yeah. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe you weren't lying. Maybe you thought they meant, cholera or something. I don't know. Maybe you thought they meant the mumps, and you were like, yes, I've never had the mumps because I've been immunized. Or maybe you just lied. Okay, maybe not. What you should have said, and I guess, even though it has the same meaning, you should have said, I've been inoculated. Of course, if you'd have said that, all the Packer fans would think you're pregnant. So forget that. Maybe not a good idea. So Aaron Rodgers, yes, you lied. But the second part of what's got me bent this week is someone who is in a fantasy league.
Oh, God.
And they don't change their lineup weekly. And, obviously you can keep certain starters in there, but the ones that aren't playing, you probably want to take those out. Wouldn't you say, Josh?
I would, and I had a brain fart, so that's on me. I'm sorry.
Okay, so just to let you guys know, Josh did lose 117 to 103. Had he started a tight end and a kicker, he probably would have won.
I probably would have won.
Which would have helped me out. But, hey.
It's all about helping you out, Alan. That's why I play fantasy football.
I know. Well, obviously, because you donate your money every year, so. But anyway, so that's what's got me bent. And one other thing that's got me bent is when somebody sends a trade offer at 3 a.m. and then they pull it back at 3:01 a.m. Now, the reason it's got me bent is because, first of all, you should never, ever interrupt somebody sleeping, especially at 3:01. Okay, even on the weekends. The bars close at 2, so they're sound asleep, hopefully, by that time. And you shouldn't be interrupting somebody's sleep. And then, not only do you interrupt their sleep, you interrupt it again a minute later, pulling back that trade offer.
Yeah, I don't know why somebody would ever do that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how late you stayed up or how many...
Foamy drinks with alcohol you've had?
Foamy drinks with alcohol you've had. You don't do that. So that's what's got me bent this week.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think that's totally out of control.
It's just somebody's just really rude doing that.
I know. I hate that.
Yeah, I don't know who would ever do that, but somebody probably did that.
Yeah.
I'm sure this last week. Anyway, so one thing I do want to talk about real quick, and it's really funny. So on Sunday night's game, at the very beginning of the game, Michael Buffer was doing his normal, let's get ready to rumble thing, and during the middle of the rumble part, they actually kicked the ball off, and it was a touchback. So his rumble came after the touchback, which just kind of goes to show you that the Michael Buffer thing is back someplace in the 90s still.
And we were watching the game together. I don't recall that. I think I was up during the kickoff, maybe getting a foamy drink or something.
I caught it. So yeah, you must have been doing that or going to plan on which tight end you didn't want to start this week.
Or kicker. Don't forget the kicker.
Yeah, kicker too. But yeah, so I just thought it was kind of funny how Michael Buffer has become irrelevant. Because if I'm Michael Buffer, I'm on the phone right after that, going to my agent. All right, we need a do-over on that. I like to use my do-over. Can you set something up to where I do it like 20 minutes before the game starts so people pay attention again? That'd be awesome if I'm Michael Buffer. But I'm not Michael Buffer, and I thought that was pretty damn funny.
I thought it was pretty funny too after rewatching it. So
yeah, all right. So, all right, let's talk a little bit here about your team, Josh. So,
a few takeaways though. I want to talk about a few teams this week that really laid some stinkers, man. That
okay, yeah.
Speaking of that Sunday night game, that Tennessee defense really shut them down.
Yeah.
Either that or that. I don't know what happened to that Stafford-led offense. I mean, I thought that game was going to be a shootout, and it was on Tennessee's side, but that's pretty much it.
Right.
Kansas City, what the heck is going on with Kansas City?
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit, where a lot of teams, it really depends on which team shows up.
It does.
If their good defense shows up, they'll have a good game. If their good offense shows up, they'll have a good game. Otherwise, they're SOL, man.
Well, it seems like with Kansas City, the last 3 or 4 times that all those offensive skill positions, with exception of Kelsey this week, he's the only one to score.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill didn't have a good game. Mahomes didn't have a good game.
Right.
I mean, they're almost becoming not automatic starters every week.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where I might actually, on our start 'em and sit 'em, I might actually put one of those guys on there because it's at the point now where it can be a hit or miss thing with them.
It can. And then one last team I want to talk about is the Buffalo Bills. How do you play the Jacksonville Jaguars, the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars, and not score a touchdown in that game? That's just despicable.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely horrible. One of my takeaways from this week, too, is obviously I'm a Bears fan. You can tell by the back there. But my biggest takeaway, I think, from this week is the improvement of Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I say that is because he threw for 291 yards. But the big thing is his aptitude to go downfield. He threw downfield quite a bit. He's trying to stretch that field out now, which, granted, some of that was in times when they needed to do that. They didn't really have a whole lot of options, but they had like 2 minutes left, or a little over 2 minutes left, or maybe just under 2 minutes left. I don't remember exactly on the drive where they went downfield, and he launched the ball downfield. Now that worked in their against them instead of their favor. It worked against them, but because they left too much time on the clock. But to me, Justin Fields is incrementally getting better and better and better. Now, at the beginning of the season, I predicted that Justin Fields would be a top 12 quarterback. I didn't put him in the top 10 because I thought that was a little too ambitious. It was one of my best predictions. But I will say this. I think he will be a top 12 quarterback. Not this year, though. It'll be next year. I think with the way he's progressing, the tools that the Bears have put out there for him, they're going to get rid of Robinson at the end of the season. They're going to find somebody to come in and take his place, or they're going to get multiple players to take his place, whatever they need to do. But that offense is going to start growing and start getting better. I think my predictions were a little bit too aggressive this year in regard to the Bears, but I will say that they're definitely on the rebuild trail, so it will happen.
And I think we've seen that Mooney is pretty much taken over as the number one now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about your team. I'm anxious to get to this. I want to talk about what the players you have and some of the strategy you have moving forward and what's going on in your league. So,
perfect.
Give us a rundown, Josh.
Okay. So we went over Alan's team last week in the ESPN League. We're going to go through my team here in the Yahoo League. Now, I'm currently sitting at 8-1, first place by a full game. And I'm pretty happy right now with my lineup. I do have a couple big buys coming up. We're going to talk about as well. But do you want to kind of go down the lineup, and we'll kind of talk about what we think?
Yeah. So for your starting quarterback, you've got Lamar Jackson, which I've got him on one of my leagues as well. Excellent start. Obviously, he's one of those must start every week kind of guys. He's on pace for phenomenal numbers this year.
It's over 1,200 rushing yards.
Yeah,
he's going to break his own record at this pace. So
yeah, they're playing Miami this week, and Miami's not too bad on the pass or on the run, but they're pretty vulnerable on the pass. So I expect Jackson to have a huge week this week.
I do too. And the good news is with Lamar Jackson, he's already had his bye, so I don't have to carry a second quarterback on my roster, which is that's huge at this point in the season in Week 10.
Yeah, when you can get a quarterback that gets that bye out of the way early in the season, it helps so much. Next up, you want to do running backs next?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
All right. So running backs next. He's got Ezekiel Elliott and then Williams from Denver. So he's got two solid running backs. I shouldn't say that. He's got one solid running back in Elliott, and he's got one question mark.
And I'm pretty high on Javonte. I think I'm higher, like we talked about, than a lot of people are on him. But I still really like him.
I have my reservations. Denver's offense is an evolving offense. I just don't know that he's going to be part of that. When you've got Melvin Gordon III there still, there's going to be a timeshare thing going on, but I don't know if Williams is going to be able to step up above that. So.
I agree with you. And at the beginning of the season, I know we talked about Melvin Gordon could be a league winner, a sneaky draft pick later on in the draft. Mm-hmm. And I think I predicted that he would possibly be traded to someone other than the Broncos this year.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised. It could still happen. Probably not.
Well, he won't be traded. Trade deadline's
Well,
going
he
on, so.
won't be traded, but he could end up on another team. We'll see. But probably not at this point. So, but yeah. Well, I did have some really good running backs, but Miles Sanders is on IR, and so is Chase Edmonds. So
yeah, the injury bugs bit all of us very, very.
kind of screwed the pooch there.
Yeah, it's bit all of us and bit us hard and often, unfortunately. Okay, so Williams still a little bit up in the air. Ezekiel Elliott's good as long as that house of cards stands, and that house of cards is standing right now. So good job on that one. Now
And Zeke's already had his bye as well, which is a good thing.
He has.
So
Yep, you're right. And Cooper Kupp and AJ Brown are the two wideouts you have. Okay?
my wide receivers, I'm just stacked.
Sweet. Now,
I also had DK Metcalf. I traded him away for a running back. So
I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks that I think that situation with the Kupp is going to even out between him and Robert Woods a little bit, but it's going to take some time for that to happen. You're starting to see a little bit of that last week, but it's going to take some time for that to happen. Cooper Kupp's huge.
He's
absolutely huge.
So instead of 18 targets, he may get 14 a game now. So
Right, exactly. 14 or maybe 13. Jeez, that's poor guy.
yeah.
So yeah, some good wideouts. AJ Brown is a little shaky in my eyes, but the only reason I say that is because now they don't have Henry there. So the pass run, they're going to have to lean on the pass.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can figure that out, I'm sure that other defensive coordinators can figure that out too. That being said,
Julio's coming back though too.
That being said, I think their offense is strong enough to overcome that. I believe they have enough weapons that they can overcome that. I think you're absolutely right. All right. So, you want to move to tight end now?
Yeah, tight end. I got Ertz. I actually traded for him not too long ago. I didn't give up much for him. But I'm really high on Ertz. And the reason is he's in that Arizona offense. And they're a pass-heavy offense.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'll say this. I like Ertz as long as he can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That health is a huge question mark every single season for him. Knock on wood, he's been doing good so far this year since he's been in the lineup. So, or at least since he's been with Arizona for sure.
Right.
So he's doing great right now. And I hope that stays because I like Ertz as a tight end. I just don't like a player that gets hurt a lot.
I know. And that's kind of been his bug there for for his entire career. So
Yep.
And then move on to flex. I think this week I'm going to start Marquise Brown. And I'm really, really high on Marquise Brown, and I think Allen's pretty high on him too.
Yep.
Lamar's really opening up that passing game. Did he almost threw for 300 last week in addition to running for 100, didn't he?
He did.
I think he just fell short.
He did.
But yeah, he's targeting Marquise Brown close to 10 times a game in the last 3 games. So, I mean, the targets are there, the volume's there, and with a fully healthy Marquise, I think the sky's the limit. So,
well, I'll say this. With having a wide receiver and a quarterback on the same team, it's a boom or bust.
It is.
You're either going to have a really good week or you're going to have a bad week. With Jackson, as much as he runs, I'm a little leery about that. Now, that being said, I like Marquise Brown. I like him a lot as far as a wide receiver goes. I think he's a stud wide receiver, or at least one. He will be a stud very, very soon if he's not already.
Absolutely.
But I don't like the idea of having the wide receiver and the quarterback on the same team. And here's why. It tends to make your team more it tends to make that combination more mediocre. Like I said, it's either boom or bust. There's not a whole lot of gray area there. That being said, though, I like this combination. I do like this combination, especially this week against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Miami's given up a lot of yardage I think they're giving up like 292 yards per game or something.
Passing, to
quarterbacks. So, so I do like it in this game. Long term,
and I normally wouldn't do that every week. And I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't like that boomer bust quarterback situation. The thing, though, that kind of differentiates Lamar is he's going to be more boom than bust in most weeks. So even if he throws to Mark Andrews 10 times and Marquise Brown has a weak game, Lamar's still putting up 30. So, that kind of offsets.
Right.
So that's really, really one of the only reasons why I'm doing that. But I do like I love the matchup this week.
Yep. Yeah, I absolutely love that matchup this week for Jackson and for Brown, obviously. But
oh yeah.
All right, let's talk about your kicker because your kicker's gay.
My kicker's gay.
Yeah. Did you know that?
Well, that's his name, so yes.
Oh yeah.
He's on the
Of course
Rams.
it is. Yeah.
They got a bye week coming up in a couple weeks, so I'm gonna have to drop him probably after this week and just pick up. I'll pull a Raffy and just throw one up on the board. I'll take that guy.
For those
any kicker.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what that reference was, Rafi is a character on the show The League, which used to be on FXX, and it's a hilarious show centered around fantasy football. If you don't have or if you haven't had an opportunity to see it before, get onto Hulu. It's on Hulu, and
you don't even have to be a fantasy football fan to watch it. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's fantastic. So check that out. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on your kicker or your defense. You've got Cleveland's defense. I like that. I will say that. They look pretty solid this last week, and I think they're going to continue to grow and become a better defense.
They really blew out Cincinnati this week, didn't they?
They did. Cincinnati came into the game with a red-hot hand. Burrow was looking amazing. You know, they had all the stuff going for them, and they just shut them down.
And they had a pick six, too, which is huge.
Yeah.
So they had a pick six. They had a ton of sacks. Just to give you guys a heads up, my opponent with Baltimore's defense scored -1 points. With Cleveland this past week, my defense scored 18.
Yeah.
So that gave me a 19-point differential right there, which is massive. Massive.
Yeah, when you get the defenses out of the way and you're ahead by 19 points, that's sweet.
Yes,
that's
it
sweet.
is.
Okay, so let's talk. Well, you want to go through your bench here?
Yeah, we can go through the bench here.
I don't see your bench on here.
Isn't it right here?
Oh yeah. All right. So let's talk about your bench players. So you got Labiska.
The biscuit.
You've got the Biscuit Chenault, who I'm not really fond of this year, but hey, it's not my team.
The reason I picked him up is for flex appeal, basically. I got some big buys coming up. I got Cooper Kupp in 11. I got AJ Brown in week 13. Who else do I got? Javonte in week 11 and Ertz in week 12. Other than that, my starting roster is done. So I got 3 guys already done out of my starting roster, 3 superstars in Zeke, Lamar, and Marquise. So I don't have to worry about them the rest of the year.
Okay, so let's talk about the next one on the list here.
God, I really loved this guy going into this year. I took him, I think, in the 6th round, Chase Edmonds. And I was expecting huge volume from him. And Connor's really kind of vultured a lot of that. He's on IR, which means he could be back. But the way Connor's playing right now, do you know Connor leads the NFL in touchdowns, by the way?
Touchdowns?
Connor leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns. He does.
I don't believe that.
Yes.
Somebody look up that stat.
We'll look it up by the end of this show to let you guys.
I want one of them to do some work. We always sit here in front of this camera. Let them do some work. You guys look it up. Email me and let me know if he's lying or not. Because he probably is.
No, I'm not.
He is.
But I really liked Edmonds. I do have Wentz still. I talked about I have the number 1 waiver, so I'm holding on to Wentz just to drop him to get that number 1 waiver. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anybody really this week that's worthy of a number 1 waiver. So I'm going to wait until another running back gets injured. And
what about Connor?
Connor's not available. No. If he was, trust me, I would have him. So, Cortland Sutton, I'm not as high on him anymore as Jerry Jeudy is really coming into his own. He had 8 targets, caught 6 of them for 69 again this week. So
yeah, that was my concern with him.
Yeah, he's really starting to be the centerpiece of that offense. One guy I really, really like, and it's going to depend on what happens with Dalvin Cook, whether he can stay healthy or whether his
off the field issues,
have an effect, is Alexander Madison. Yeah. I mean, he's an RB1 if anything happens to Cook, if he goes down for an extended period of time.
And just as a kind of an update on that too, I read about that today, and there's no definite thing that the NFL is going to do. They don't know specifically what's going on yet. They're waiting for the investigation to continue and trying to figure out, some of the details. Obviously, Dalvin Cook was saying that he was the victim of domestic violence or domestic something or other. I don't know, but there's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces to that. So until that gets worked out, we won't know exactly how that's going to go. But that being said, Madison is a good pickup, especially if he's available in your leagues. Get him. If you're even need some depth on your bench, get him, because
absolutely,
if anything happens to Cook, he'll be the man.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. You've got
and then I got Miles Sanders. I was really high on Miles Sanders going into a few weeks ago when Philly said they really wanted to push the volume to him, and they did for the 2 drives, 6 carries for 30 yards, and then he went on IR.
Yeah.
So, right now it looks like it's Jordan Howard's ball game. I'm still holding on to Miles Sanders because I think he could have a big role if and when he comes back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then your kicker.
We already talked about the kicker and the defense.
Your defense are down here. Okay, I don't know why you did it this way, but okay, you know what? All right, so we're done with that.
We're done with that. So.
All right. Now let's talk about your matchup this week, because you're playing somebody that's very familiar to you.
I'm playing Jordan. I think you guys remember him from a couple weeks ago, who really gave me crap about my sit Derrick Henry pick.
Jordan, we want you on the show next week. We'd love to have you on the show next week to talk about how this matchup went down and how either you won or Josh won. I'm not calling it. I'm just saying. Just saying.
And if you guys remember, I really had to eat some crow when I said sit Derrick Henry that week when he had 3 touchdowns. But for anybody who's been watching the show from the start of the season, Alan and I have been warning since day one, no running back has ever ran for over 320 carries 3 years in a row. We predicted that he would be hurt by the end of the season, that he just wouldn't hold up. He wouldn't have that durability, that longevity. And what happened 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, he pulled something or strained something or hurt something. I don't know, but he's not playing.
Besides his feelings, you mean?
Yeah, he's not playing.
Yeah, he's out for the year. So now we got Adrian Peterson. So
wow, who would have thought in 2021 we're talking about Adrian Peterson?
Yes, yeah.
It was great back, in the early 2000s. It was great.
Yeah, I'm not too high on him, but he did have a touchdown. You know what I mean?
He did.
So
I don't know how his old legs got in the end zone, but they did.
I wouldn't rest on.
Listen to me calling him old.
Yeah, I know, right? You're old enough to be his grandfather. Just kidding. Not grandfather, father. Well, maybe. We'll see.
I need more paper to crumple up and throw at you.
But I wouldn't rest assured that he's going to have any good games. He may not score another touchdown for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? The game script was totally in favor of Tennessee last week. They were winning, so they did have to run the ball, and that kind of really played into that. So,
all right, let's talk about Jordan's team a little bit here. He's got a at first glance it looks like a very, very solid team. There's a few holes to punch in.
There
in
is.
This, though. So if we look at this, he's got Josh Allen as a quarterback, which, again, if you're talking name, that's a great name to have, Josh Allen.
Yeah, the best name ever.
Yeah, even given that it's our names put together. Nonetheless, he's still a good quarterback, still a solid quarterback. The problem is the last couple weeks been a little shaky for.
And that's
Josh.
Who did they play the last couple weeks? They played some piss poor, horrible, atrocious defenses. They played Miami. And then they played Jacksonville, and they lost the Jacksonville game. Now they're playing the New York Jets, who completely shut down Cincinnati a few weeks ago. So, in New Jersey, by the way. So it's a home game for the Jets. So let's see what happens. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Allen has a big game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have a big game.
Now I'm just gonna stop you for just a second, because you mentioned that it's a home game for the Jets, but Buffalo is in New York, and there's a lot of. I don't know if I'd necessarily call that a home game. I mean, a home field advantage.
I would consider, because it's in New Jersey, because there is no New York City Stadium. But okay, yes, I will give you that. But
I'm just what I'm saying is that there's going to be a lot of fans coming to the game that are Buffalo fans.
There's also going to be a lot of drunk Giants fans who are just going there to get drunk and start crap with the other two.
See, a team that can win.
Yes, because the Jets and Giants do share a stadium.
Right. All right. So Josh Allen could be a thorn in your side, but it really depends on which Buffalo offense shows up.
I know, and going just on a matchup perspective, I like Lamar Jackson Thursday against Miami. has a slight edge over Josh Allen on Sunday against the New York Jets. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
A slight one, but yes, I agree. All right, so moving on to the running backs then. He's got, what's this guy's first name?
Darrell
Henderson.
Not
okay.
Daryl.
Okay, I was just curious because there's a lot of Darryls in the league, it sounds like. So Darrell Henderson and Ty Johnson, right?
Yep.
From the Jets. I don't like that combo. I like Henderson. By himself, but the Johnson, I don't. I'm not a big fan of not a big fan of the Jets in general. And being that I don't think if that Buffalo offense shows up, they're not going to be running the ball much.
They're not.
So he better be catching some passes if you're going to get some points out of him, Jordan.
Absolutely. And it's definitely the wrong running back to have, especially because, remember, Ty Johnson is not the pass-catching back. It's Michael Carter.
Right.
In fact, he caught 9 2 weeks ago, and he caught another handful this week. So.
Yep. So unless they can figure out a way to get the ball in his hands through the air, might be a rocky one there.
Yeah, so I think the advantage, and I'm not just saying this because it's my team, but I think the combination of Zeke and Javonte definitely has an edge over Darrell Henderson and Ty Johnson, wouldn't you say?
I would say that Johnson and Williams are probably a wash. You'll probably get a few more points out of Williams, but I think Henderson and Elliott is a great fantasy football matchup.
I think it is. I do expect a big week from Zeke. He hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 weeks. That offense is really starting to jive. I think this could be a big week for Zeke.
Well, Henderson's playing San Francisco. San Francisco is, again, one of these, either they show up or they don't defenses. So if the good San Francisco defense shows up, could be in trouble. If the other San Francisco defense, he'll be running all day long, all day and all night. He'll be running.
But I got Kupp to offset him though, so.
Well, let's talk. Let's move on. Let's move on here because we've got for our wide receivers, you've got Metcalf.
He's got Metcalf and Deontay.
I'm sorry, he's got Metcalf.
Yep,
yeah.
And he's the one who actually traded Metcalf for. Can you imagine if I still had Kupp, Metcalf, and AJ Brown?
Yeah, Metcalf is in the same situation that Robert Woods is in.
I know.
The number 2 or the former number 2 wide receiver has taken over the number 1 position, which is really weird in the NFL. But that being said, I think the same thing's going to happen here. That's going to happen for the Rams too in Los Angeles. I almost said St. Louis. Wow, flashback.
Well, I think with Wilson back, Metcalf's value is going to go through the roof.
It will for sure. One of my teams, I have Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf, both, and I'm bringing them both back this week to start. So I think there's going to be some good things happening with Metcalf. I think things are going to even out a little bit, just like I said with Woods in Los Angeles. Things are going to even out. It can't go one way. Well, I shouldn't say that. In theory, it can't go one receiver the entire season without something happening. So. I'm thinking that Metcalf play is a good one, especially coming off the bye week. I do too.
So he's got Deontay Johnson, who is really starting to come into this role as the number 1 receiver.
Yes.
Deontay Johnson and Metcalf, and I got Kupp and AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Cooper Kupp is a clear advantage over any other receiver.
Yes.
Just based on the volume alone.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then for tight end, he's got Darren Waller, who I absolutely love and absolutely hate all at the same time. Love him as a tight end. I think he's a good tight end. I think he's going to be a solid fantasy tight end sometime. I don't think it's going to be this year, though. The problem that I have with it is the sheer volume that Las Vegas does is going to the receivers. It's going to they're filling in gaps. Now, granted, he might get a few more catches since we had that issue with Ruggs. Ruggs, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ruggs.
Riggs from Lethal Weapon?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy can't play football.
I know, right?
But anyway, since we had that issue, he might be getting a few more catches. But the problem that I have, like I said, the volume's there, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're not getting it to him or if they're just throwing it to him, throwing over his head too much or, what's going on. But He's just not the fantasy player that I thought he was going to be at the beginning of the season. That may change in the second half.
I don't think he's the fantasy player anybody thought. He was being drafted as a number 2 overall tight end.
Yes.
And as much as I love Ertz, I think Darren Waller is a clear upgrade to Zach Ertz. I mean, I think you would agree on that, even though we're both not as high on Darren Waller because he is boom or bust this year.
Right. Yep.
And he'll probably boom this week because I'm playing against him.
Yep. Now, interesting thing here, he started for his flex, he started another tight end. The tight end that he started was Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
So, awesome week last week, and it's about flipping time, I would say.
It is about flipping time.
So, he's on a roll with Kittle. As a flex position, I don't know if I'd necessarily go tight end. You've got Waller and Kittle both.
Now, if that was going into the beginning of the season with the number 2 and number 3 tight end, I would say do it every week.
Right.
But Kittle has been anything but consistent.
Right. So it scares me a little bit in that, the inconsistency there for both of those guys. The ceiling, though, is really, really high on both of them. So
yeah,
it could go really good for you. It could go really bad for you.
And there's a reason people call him George Brittle. So
yeah.
One hit and he could be out for the rest of the year or an extended period of time.
What are you wishing hateful stuff on Kittle?
I'm not wishing anything. Like I said before a couple weeks ago, I never wish anybody to get injured ever.
That's not what you told me. All right. Now let's move on to kicker and defense. Kicker, he's got Joseph. Defense, he's got Dallas. Moving on.
Yep.
Again, I'm not going to say that your defense or your kicker's ever going to win or lose fantasy games
unless you don't start them.
Yeah, exactly. On a regular basis. They're not going to win games for you. But you're going to have your breakout games, and you're going to have good things happen. Like you said, you were up 19 points after, with defenses compared to each other. So you'll have good things happen. But, again, not make or break for any team. Joseph, kicker, Minnesota, as long as he gets the opportunities, he'll probably make them unless they're really far out. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Dallas, defense, again, same thing. Depends on which defense shows up. If the good Dallas defense shows up, you might have a good game. If the mediocre Dallas defense shows up, pack it up for your defense.
And it could be fluky too. If you remember that Cleveland game last week, Cincinnati had it 1st and goal. Burrow was picked off at the 1.
Yeah.
And they ran it back 99 yards. So it wasn't a standard pick 6. It was a completely game-changing pick 6. So you could have fluky plays like that. A fumble here and there goes your way.
And look at Stafford threw 2 picks right back to back. One of them was a pick 6.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. So, and defenses, that's kind of what you depend on anyway, the fluky stuff to happen,
Yes.
So, or you can maybe hope for like
12, not to mention 12 returns, kick returns, yeah.
Right. Or you could hope for like 12 sacks or 12 interceptions, which probably
not from Dallas, but
I'm just saying it could happen possibly. But so kind of looking at the big picture, it looks like you've got a good matchup this week. It looks like there are some possibilities for Jordan's team to really strike fast. Looking at these games, it looks like a lot of his games are going to be. Why does it say 11 a.m.? This game's don't start at 11 a.m. Oh, it's West Coast.
West Coast, yeah.
Or no, that'd be Mountain Time.
I don't know why it says 11 a.m.
It must be local time.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. But he's got 4 guys going, four fantasy.
I'm going to need you to fix Yahoo before next week if we're doing this again.
This is on your computer, Alan.
Oh, it's my fault. My bad. my fault. But anyway, no, it looks like he's got some early games, but the majority of his players are going to be playing. I'm assuming that's going to be a 3:00 game. This is 2:05.
Yep.
Okay. So it looks like the majority of his players are going to be playing later games, or it looks like he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the early game, so 5 players in either the later game or Sunday or Monday night.
Yep.
So you're going to have to sit on your hands a little bit and kind of wait it out. For your sake, I hope you get a big enough lead to.
Well, I'm counting on Marquise and Lamar tomorrow night to
not have to worry about it.
Give me 50, 60 points.
Yeah. But
probably not, but 50. I'll take 50. That would be enough.
But for Jordan's sake, I hope he has a late comeback. See, I'm new. I'm like Switzerland here. I'm neutral. I have no affiliation to any Worley at all.
Except the co-host for his show, you know.
Yeah. There's that, of course. Yeah, of course. All right, so looking forward into the season, let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
What is your outlook? What is your strategy? I know you don't want to give too much up here, being that the guys in your league listen to the.
Well, like I said, I do have a full 1-game lead. Okay. So I do have a little cushion. I don't have more points than the second place guy in the league. So if I can keep winning, then that would be perfect. Now the second place guy, he is projected to win this week. Now we can't really go by projections, of course, because you never really know.
Unless they're bent predictions.
Unless they're bent predictions, yes.
Yep.
But if he keeps winning and I keep winning, I have to keep winning in order to keep that lead. Other than that, as long as I get one of those top 2 positions, because we have a full 2-game lead if I lose over the 3rd and 4th place team. But going forward, just taking a look at, let's see, like week 11, I'm playing the 2nd place team right now. So if I could win that game, and I don't really have, I do have Cooper Kupp on bye, but I think he's got a couple guys on bye too, which actually might even that out just a little bit. So yeah, he's got Stafford on bye, which is big, and that's it. Crap. So he has all those other studs. But
look, T.J. Hawkinson. Oh no, wait a minute. That's one that you said.
Oh, shut up.
Forgot to take out your lineup.
So he's going to have to play Tyler Heineke next week against Lamar. So I kind of like that matchup there. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. But as long as I can keep winning, if I can win the next 2 games, I should be in a clear position to get that bye in the playoffs. First 2 places get the bye in the playoffs, 1 and 2. So
okay. Now let me ask you this: how many game winning streak are you on now?
I'm on an 8-game winning streak, actually. Okay. I lost my very first game to Sean. Yeah. That's kind of like losing a game to Taco or Raffy, if you ask my other teammates, but my other league mates, sorry. But yes, I did lose to Sean week 1. My other league mates. I did lose to Sean week 1, and then I'm on an 8-game win streak. So I'm actually doing really, really good this week. So this year.
No, that's awesome that you're on an 8-game win streak, 8-1 total. You've got a solid team. It looks like you basically your ticket to ride this year is just going to keep winning. Score as many points as you possibly can. Keep winning. So I'm going to advise you on something here. When it comes down to close to the playoffs coming up, the last few weeks of the regular season, if you've already clinched the league, keep scoring points. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but make sure that you're doing the best for your lineup, whether it's free agency or whether it's starting somebody that you think is gonna but you want to score as many points as you can, even if it's just a hunch.
Oh yeah,
go for it. Score as many points as you can, because on that final week, at the end of that final week, either you have to have a better record or you have to have more points.
Here's what I didn't tell you: we actually have in-season awards as well. Okay. So. Playoffs, yes, we have the first, second, third place get paid out.
Okay.
That's the majority of it. Best record at the end of the regular season gets $100. Team who has the most points gets $100.
Okay.
So that's a goal that we're all trying for regardless. Okay.
Gotcha.
So yes.
Okay.
I didn't tell you that before, but now you know, so yeah.
No, that's cool. I like that. So my advice for all of you out there that are leading your league, but no, definitely keep that in mind as a fantasy manager or owner, however you want to say it. Keep that in mind. The playoffs will be coming up in a few, probably what are we looking at, 5 weeks, 6 weeks?
Week 15, so this is week 10, so we got 5 more regular season weeks.
Yeah, okay, 5 weeks. So keep that in mind as you're going along. If you're at the head of your league or at the head of your division in your league, make sure you keep that in mind. The points always matter.
I don't know why you just tapped on your head. There's no mind in there.
Do you hear that hollow sound?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, anyway, keep that in mind though. You want to make sure you're still scoring points. Don't sit back and enjoy the show. Just keep scoring points if you can. All right. So I think we are time to move on. Did you have anything else you wanted to add about your team?
No.
I know you like talking about them a lot. So. bragging.
When we get together Sunday, I'll think of some more stuff I can brag about, okay?
I'm 8-1. I'm so great. My name is Josh. I'm so great. Anyway.
You love it.
So we're going to move on to bet predictions this week. So, Josh, I want you to go first with your bet predictions. I think you got a couple really good ones.
Okay. I got one, actually. Actually, I'll do two. Last week, guys, I picked Cleveland to upset Cincinnati at home. Cincinnati was looking good. Cleveland, what'd they do? They blew them out, didn't they?
They did.
So yeah, we're 13-3. So
yep.
I don't know why you're not subscribing because we got more premium content, but
I don't know why we're not in Vegas winning money on
that's what I'm talking about. So
maybe we can do a live show from Vegas. All we need is 986 more subscribers, and we can do a live show from Vegas.
Well, and we need somebody from Vegas to pay for us to go out there and.
This plan never works.
I know, what the heck. So, okay, guys, this is going to seem a little off the wall, but I like Detroit to get their first win this week. They're a 9-point underdog at Pittsburgh. I'm not only going to pick them to cover that 9 points, but I'm going to pick them to outright win that game.
Wow. So,
Detroit at Pittsburgh. Wow. Pittsburgh is... I don't like the way they've been looking the last couple weeks. And, it's far harder, far more difficult to go 0-17, 0-16 than it is to go 16-0. So I'm thinking this is going to be the week for Detroit. They got the players. I don't know. I know their coaching kind of sucks. They got players that are back to healthy. They got all their skill positions back. So I could see this being their first win. Okay. Mm-hmm. The second game I really, really like, and I know this over is huge. It's 54.5 for Atlanta and Dallas. Okay.
With Atlanta in that makes them surprised.
With Dak back, with a fully healthy Dak back, I'm already predicting a huge game for Zeke. Okay, I think he's going to have could possibly have 2 touchdowns in that game. Mm-hmm. And Dallas' defense isn't great. They're going to give up some points. So
Atlanta's starting to put some things together too. So
they are. Atlanta's looking a lot better. They're 4-4, and they're on a 3-game win streak, something like that. Yeah. And they looked like crap when they started the season. So 54.5 is almost unheard of for an NFL game. I mean, that's high, but I really like the over in that. That could be a 60-70 point game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It could be. So, good prediction. I outside of your prediction there, your bet prediction, I'm actually kind of secretly rooting for Detroit to go 0-16 or 0-17.
Are you really?
0-17, just because I feel bad for Detroit. Not much, but I mean just a little bad because being a Bear fan and all.
Yeah.
But I know what it's like to be a fan of a team that doesn't. It seems like they don't want to succeed. It's hard to keep your team colors on there. All Cub fans understand where I'm coming from with this. It's hard to keep your team colors on when, it seems like the team doesn't care. So I'm kind of hoping for an 0-16 or 0-17 season for Detroit, just because I want to see something happen there. Something's going to shake things up. I want to see the NFC North. I want to see it be the NFC North of old. I want to see 4 smash mouth teams in that league or in that division. I want to see hard football again. But that being said,
I think you got 3 because I think the Bears are starting to play better, and so is Minnesota. Minnesota's looking amazing lately.
We'll talk about that off the air.
Different story.
So yeah, but I do want to see your prediction come true because like Josh said, we are 13-3. So I want to keep that going. That being said, coming up to my bet prediction this week, the spread on the Seattle game this week is Seattle +3. Okay.
It's in Green Bay, right?
It is in Green Bay. I am picking Seattle to cover the spread. The second part of that is the over-under on that is 49.5. My bet prediction, and this is very bent, is that that's going to be an over. You're going to want to bet over on that one. The reason I say that, we're not responsible if you lose your house or anything like that, so just so you know that. But
and we're not telling you to bet your house on it either. How's that?
Yeah. We're not telling you to bet anything on it.
Yes.
Maybe bet your friend or something that, a gentleman's bet or something. I'm just saying we don't encourage gambling We're fantasy football players. Why would we do that? But the over and under is 49.5. So I'm picking the over on that one. And I think that Seattle's going to cover that spread. I think Seattle has a chance of outright winning it. I'm not calling that, but I'm just going to say I think they'll beat the spread.
Okay. I like it. I think there are going to be a lot of points in that game. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, I could see that line moving up to Seattle -3 or 4. You know what I mean?
And I'm sticking with that. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, that the over-under is going to move. The line's going to move, and the over-under is going to move on that. That over-under is going to go way down.
It's going to go down to probably 44 or 45.
Right.
But I still like that. Both teams are high-flying offenses.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I like that. I like Seattle to win outright. It's not going to be my bet prediction, but we took the +3, okay, and the over 49.5. And then recap, we took Detroit to win outright. They're a 9-point underdog. That would be huge for anybody that bet on the bets on money lines.
Yeah.
That'd be like a 3-1 almost.
Yep.
And then Atlanta, Dallas over 54.5. So.
Yep. So that's our bet predictions for this week. We do want to encourage you guys to go to our website. You can see, once I get it updated, you can see all of our bet predictions on there. We are going to move that to our premium content at some point. Probably after this week, we'll probably move it to our premium content. So as soon as
after we go 4-0 this week again.
After we, yes, that's right, that's right. So when we come out 17-3, we'll be that'll be our premium content.
Yes.
But if you guys want to check it out, it's bentonfootball.godaddysite.com. Now check it out. There's a lot of stuff on there every week. I post up the active and inactive players for that week prior to Sunday's first games. So check that out. If you need some help trying to determine whether somebody's going to be playing or not, go check it out, definitely. Also, you can email us at bentffb@gmail.com. And as always, we want you to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube page. So make sure you do that. Josh, do you have any final thoughts for our folks?
I do not. Besides, I do want to say one thing. If you guys notice on the website, we haven't updated our bet predictions, and there's a reason for that. We haven't updated them in about 4 or 5 weeks, right?
Right.
Because we really want to encourage you guys to watch the show. I think there's some great content. We always give them out for free, even though we may have some premium bet predictions here coming up soon.
Yep.
But that's the reason, if you guys are wondering why we haven't updated the bet predictions, is because we really want to encourage you to watch the show. We think there's some value in it, even if it's just watching two old guys make a fool out of themselves. So,
and there is one other reason that we haven't updated the website, and I'm lazy. That's why. So,
I was giving you an out, Alan.
You were, but no, actually, you're right though. I mean, that's we talked about that. So it's. That's what we're doing, but it's also because I'm lazy and I don't do much. So I guess I don't have anything. Do you have anything?
I don't have anything else, man.
All right, then why don't you guys just go get bent
on fantasy football?